Welcome everyone to the Dr. Ward Bond Show, where we always think natural. And did you know that over half the people in the U.S. have some form of insomnia? Most sleeping pills, especially when taken over long periods of time, well, they stay in the bloodstream, giving a hangover the next day, well, and beyond. And from a nutritional perspective, studies show that a healthy diet and certain minerals can be effective alternatives to help people fall asleep and stay that way. Now, the use of prescription sleeping drugs has been steadily increasing, as global sales for all sleeping pills, called hypnotics, will top $5 billion in the next several years. Today, I want to cover some causes and remedies, as I've suffered with insomnia for many years caused by my travels, as I traveled during the middle of the night, and it took me a few years to finally overcome it. So for those of you watching, hope is not lost, and healthy sleep is coming to you, hopefully tonight. Today I want to talk to you about insomnia and to teach you how to improve your sleep. Now ask yourself, do you have a problem falling asleep or staying asleep or both? We're covering these problems today, so get ready and take notes. Now, most cases of insomnia are related to poor sleep habits, depression, anxiety, lack of exercise, chronic illness, or certain medications. Now, symptoms may include difficulty falling or staying asleep and not feeling well rested. But let's start with stress and anxiety. Now, how many of you can't shut your mind off? Tired of your brain that's talking to you, keeping you awake? Well, there's a remedy for that. But on the blackboard, I want to cover some causes and remedies. But first, in Proverbs 3:24, the word says, "When you lie down, you will not be filled with fear. When you lie down, your sleep will be pleasant." Well, we live in a society when fear has gripped millions and billions of dollars are spent on sleep medications, causing us to be tired and feeling like zombies. Now, when we do not get healthy sleep, we will gain weight, which, well, has been medically proven. Also, your body was designed to rest and regenerate. You plug in your own mobile phone at night and you get it recharged, and you were designed to do the same thing. Make sure you have a comfortable bed and pillow. These things can be overlooked, and some of you sleep better in a chair or on the couch than you do your own bed. What you need to do is create your bedroom to be a place of peace and solitude. And if you are the type that stares at your phone and watch television in your bedroom, you are diminishing the body's ability to fall asleep effectively. Now, technical devices create our brains to work, and it overexcites our senses. It is best to put the mobile phones and the tablets down at least a couple of hours before going to bed to allow your mind to calm down. See, the alpha brain waves can be elevated, which is good during the day to allow you to be calm and focused, but going to bed being focused just allows your brain to keep you awake. Well, we want to lower the alpha brain waves, and God has created some remedies to do just that. Now, if you are currently taking any types of prescribed medications, talk with your pharmacist or doctor and find out if they contain side effects that disrupt sleep. Now, I do not suggest taking sleep medications or over-the-counter drugstore sleep aids. There is research that is showing that using over-the-counter sleep meds, that these could increase the risk for dementia and Alzheimer's disease. Well, do you ever feel like the Walking Dead when you wake up after taking these over-the-counter medications? Well, your brain has been affected. Now think about Michael Jackson. He went to extreme lengths to get sleep because, as he stated, he couldn't get the beat out of his head. Well, he died by overdosing on propofol. That is an anesthesia, and it didn't really put Michael Jackson to sleep. He was actually in an awake state that eventually he would have died anyway by using it nightly, as he was creating sleep deprivation. Now back to getting you to sleep naturally. Now that we have mobile phones off, the television off, except this program at the moment, it's time to prepare yourself for a good night's sleep. I understand everyone is different, so I'm going to show you some common effective remedies. Now, some of you have heard of some of these, and some of them you may have not heard of. Now, before we begin, if you are currently taking antidepressants, antipsychotic medications, or anti-anxiety medications, you need to consult with your pharmacist or doctor before using anything I'm about to teach you. Those medications do not interact well with some natural substances, and I stress you always need to use wisdom that the Lord gave us when dealing with medications. They can be helpful, but we need to understand how to use them effectively. First, let's talk food. What you eat before bed matters. Avoid the caffeine and avoid the sugary snacks, as these will irritate the nervous system. Now, if you are dealing with restless leg syndrome, now how many of you deal with restless leg syndrome? Raise your hand. I can see right through the TV, see who's raising your hand. Millions of you. That's an epidemic in this country. Something simple as using calcium magnesium can be very, very helpful. Actually, magnesium cream rubbed onto the affected parts can work wonders. It is best to finish eating 2 hours before going to bed, and the foods you eat in the evening should be light and not heavy. You see, the evening time is for preparing your body for rest and relaxation. A heavy meal with no activity will add unwanted pounds to your body. Now let's start talking some remedies here, okay? First of all, now remember I mentioned restless leg syndrome, and calcium magnesium can help, but put more stress in the areas of magnesium, because magnesium is a relaxing mineral, and it's great to take magnesium about 30 minutes to an hour before bedtime. Restless leg syndrome is that creepy, crawling, irritated feeling in the legs where you have to constantly move them to get that feeling to stop. And then you stop your legs, and a few seconds later it happens again. It can be irritating. There are people who are literally living on medications that deal with restless leg syndrome all night and even into the day, and it shouldn't be that way. And usually it can be a telltale sign that there's something wrong in the diet, usually heavy caffeine, also the sugar, and always, again, I cannot stress this, there's many prescribed medications that can actually cause that problem. But look at magnesium, you need that. Now, for a couple of easy, common herbal remedies that are very safe for a lot of people, valerian and also hops. Now, valerian and hops are shown to help improve the effect of falling asleep and staying asleep. Now, if you are saying to yourself, well, I've tried these and they don't work, well, there's a reason. Many companies use cheap herbs that do not possess the power that God gave them to have, and man has adulterated them to the point for profit and not effect. Now, I suggest you find high-quality, reputable companies or try them in a tea form. You see, valerian has a very strong odor, and you'll know it when you smell it, and this can be a very helpful indicator that you need to have that it's a high-quality valerian. Now, research has shown that adding hops to valerian make for a better night's sleep than valerian alone. Now, if stress is a problem, you need to take a look to the next herb, passion flower. This is actually one of my favorites, and this is why. Valerian, in some cases for some people, can actually create that morning hangover effect. Not in everyone, but some people it will. Hops added to valerian may kind of sidestep that a bit, but passion flower, this is literally perfect for those that deal with stress and anxiety. And here's another helpful hint about passion flower, is for women who are dealing with depression or menopause. Passion flower will help to ease depression associated with menopause. Also, research has shown back in 2002 in the Journal of Pharmacology that passion flower can help people withdraw from the use of marijuana addiction. Now, I love passion flower because not only is it a great nervine. Now, the word nervine is a term that we use in the herbal world, meaning that herbs that help to calm the nervous system. The greatest thing about passion flower over valerian is this. Let's say you're under stress or anxiety during the day. Well, you can definitely take passion flower during the day to calm the nerves. Some of you may have panic attacks, And these create a problem. Sometimes you may have them during the day, maybe you have a panic attack at night. And by using passion flower, you can actually prevent or lessen the severity of a panic attack. Very safe to use. This is one of my favorite herbs to get people to calm down. Now, a big natural sleep aid that a lot of people like to use is melatonin. Now, this is a substance that is naturally produced in the body, in the pineal gland. That's actually in your brain. This gland produces melatonin, and when you go outside and enjoy the natural sunlight that the Lord gave us, well, researchers believe that wisdom comes from the pineal gland. Well, all I know is wisdom comes from the Lord, and we need to be thankful for that type of research. But when you go outside, light enters your eyes, travels the pathway to the pineal gland, and produces the melatonin. Now, the melatonin is stored in the pineal gland until you lay down to fall asleep. Then the melatonin is then released quickly into the bloodstream to induce sleep. If you work in an office or you never get outside enough, you will be low in natural melatonin, and this can be a common problem leading to insomnia. Now, you can take supplemental melatonin. This is available in different strengths, and it's wise to start small to find the right dose for you. And it is suggested to spend at least 30 minutes a day outside. And I know we all can't do that depending on circumstance or where we live, but the other health benefits of melatonin is that it's also anti-aging. And melatonin research has shown it to be preventative and an adjunct treatment for breast cancer. So the dose for breast cancer is 10 milligrams every night. Now, the thing is this, before you start going with a 10 milligram melatonin, I suggest you start small. For some people who have never tried melatonin, they need to get used to it. Now, I suggest using a time-released melatonin if you cannot get outside. Now, let's say you have someone who goes outside a lot. They get a lot of natural sunlight. Well, they're producing their own melatonin. Now, if they have an inability to fall asleep, melatonin's not their problem. It's going to be something else. So the thing is if they took a melatonin supplement, the melatonin won't work for them because they're already producing enough because they're spending a lot of time outside. So they need to find out what's causing that problem, and we're going to cover some more of those areas. Now, the thing about melatonin is this, and again, we always have to use wisdom. Melatonin is not suggested for anyone dealing with severe depression or bipolar depression, as melatonin can make it worse. It is wise to speak with your doctor about insomnia problems, but be aware they will write you a prescription for common drugs such as Xanax, Ambien, and others. I want to warn you that these drugs are common for causing suicidal thoughts, promoting strange behaviors, and the mixture of Xanax and Ambien is best to be avoided at all costs. Always talk to your pharmacist and doctor about those types of drugs, and you can even read the side effects online, because I've seen and heard some extremely strange stories, and I've seen some very bad endings for a lot of people using those drugs long term. Remember, anything that you take medically that affects brain chemistry, you need to be aware of possible side effects. Use wisdom. We want to be safe with everything that we need to do for our health. Now, one natural remedy that I like to use, and one that many people have never heard of to use, is borage oil. I actually found this by accident, but borage oil is used for three main purposes. One, it's to improve skin health by improving the way your skin stays hydrated. And if you are dealing with dry skin conditions, you got to try this oil. It's fantastic, but we'll cover skin conditions on another program. Also, borage oil helps with weight loss for those who've had gastric bypass surgery, and that's just an added side note today. But today, since we're talking about insomnia, borage oil is the forgotten remedy when it comes to a good night's sleep. Now again, I found it quite by accident. One winter, we were filming my program, and I ended up with very dry skin as it was so cold outside that we had the heat on that dried my skin out. Now for weeks, I couldn't get my skin to rehydrate. So I did some research and saw a recommendation to use borage oil every morning and every night. Then the side note I saw was that it could help to improve sleep. Well, borage oil contains GLA, that's gamma linolenic acid. Now, You want to dose around 240, 320 milligrams at bedtime. Now, when I took it, I literally had the best night's sleep ever, and I still take it to this day, and now my whole family takes the same dose. It doesn't interfere with medications because it's a healthy oil, a healthy fat that we need in our body, in our skin, and in our brain. So it's great, again, for your brain, your skin. And now let me tell you something. My dry skin cleared up. So if you are dealing with eczema or psoriasis, you may want to try borage oil. It's a God-given nutrient that will sure to be a blessing to you. Two sinners hang on the cross, one on each side of the Lord as he was being crucified with them. See, one doubted the power of Christ, and the other says, "Remember me in paradise." Have you realized that many times we have possessed the attitude of both sinners? Some days we doubt God's ability to save us, and other times we bow down in humility and simply say to Jesus, "Please remember me." Christ is your friend, and he literally hung in there for you. See, he experienced all of the pain, the suffering, the loneliness, and the persecution. Why? To protect you from it? Absolutely not. We must have the attitude of the sinner who said, "Please remember me." To die is to gain, and in some cases, maybe literally, but we must allow ourselves to decrease so Christ can increase in us. Sometimes the pain, the suffering, loneliness we experience is to make us strong, holy, and pure. So how do you see your Lord today? As sinner number one or sinner number two? Now, some people will use remedies such as 5-HTP or pure tryptophan. And I suggest that if these work for you, use them. Now, be aware that if you are on any type of mental medications, that you must seek the advice of your doctor before using 5-HTP or tryptophan, as these can interact negatively with certain medications. Now, if you are not on mental type medications, these remedies can be very effective to induce sleep. Now, many of you watching can fall asleep, but you end up waking up a few times during the night and you wake up tired. That problem is actually caused by weak adrenal function, and it's a sign that you are chronically stressed. If your cortisol levels are elevated, well, and they will be when you're dealing with stress, they will keep your mind wandering at night and keep you up at night. See, cortisol is normally elevated when you wake up and again towards the evening. Now, the best remedy to lower cortisol is a healthy nutrient called phosphatidylserine, and it does not interact with any medications. Taking this nutrient every morning and every evening will ensure normal cortisol levels. Much of the research studies have shown that this nutrient will help to improve your memory and cognitive ability. It will actually reduce the risk for Alzheimer's disease and bring calm and focus to the mind, and it can be used by school-aged children and even adults. I think it's a great nutrient for ADD and ADHD, as I've taken it for years, even though I don't have those problems, but I take it at the same time with my borage oil for sleep, and it absolutely works. Now, the thing is this. I actually had a client a few years ago that came to see me, and she was literally just could not calm down. I thought she had a hyperthyroid problem because she just wouldn't stop talking. She was talking 90 miles an hour. And then I got to thinking, you know what, maybe she ought to try the phosphatidylserine. Let's just see what happens. So I told her what dose to take. She took it every day. In 1 week's time, she went from this extremely hyper, out of control type person to someone that became very calm, very focused, and peaceful. I almost didn't think it was the same person. Even the people that worked with her couldn't believe it was the same person. But that's how potent a natural substance can be when the human body needs it. You know, phosphatidylserine is not something that we end up with a deficiency of because it's actually a healthy fat from the B vitamin, or part of the B vitamin family, what we would call choline. And phosphatidylserine is derived from choline, so it's used for the brain, it's used for the fat membranes in our body to keep the nerves healthy, and definitely our brain. Well, that's all I have at the moment to help you improve your sleep. There is a transcript available on my website at drwardbond.com, but I want to leave you with one more remedy. If you've ever looked up L-theanine helps to bring calm and focus. So if you need something to calm the nerves during the day, it works very well. But here's another thing. Theanine can also work very well at night. So if you're the type of person that takes 5-HTP, if you take 5-HTP, combine it with the L-theanine, you may find that you actually fall asleep faster, more effectively, and you will also help stay asleep. The thing about this is, when I also mentioned the phosphatidylserine, you need to realize to bring those cortisol levels down, because again, if you have weak adrenal glands caused by stress, you'll just continue to wake up during the middle of the night. These simple remedies and suggestions that I've made for you today should ensure a good night's sleep each and every night. With 25% of the U.S. population suffering side effects from sleep medications, effective natural remedies are needed. See, 80% of the population is deficient in a critical nutrient that makes you twice as likely to die as other people, according to a study published in the Journal of Intensive Care Medicine. It also accounts for a long list of symptoms and diseases which are easily helped and often cured by adding this nutrient. In fact, in my personal experience, this nutrient is one of my secret weapons against illness. Yet, up to half of Americans are deficient in this nutrient and don't even know it. I'm talking about magnesium. It is an antidote to stress, the most powerful relaxation mineral available, and it can help improve your sleep. Now, why aren't more doctors tapped into the benefits of magnesium? You know, they use it all the time in conventional medicine, and they never stop to think about why or how important it is for our general health or to why it helps our bodies function better. Did you know that magnesium is on the emergency room crash cart? If someone was dying of a life-threatening arrhythmia, which is an irregular heartbeat, they use intravenous magnesium. If someone was constipated or needed to prepare for colonoscopy, they gave them milk of magnesia or a green bottle of liquid magnesium citrate, which emptied their bowels. If pregnant women came in with preterm labor or high blood pressure of pregnancy or seizures, they gave them a continuous high dose of intravenous magnesium. But you don't have to be in the hospital to benefit from getting more magnesium. You can start taking regular magnesium supplementation today and see the results. Think of magnesium as the relaxation mineral that anything that is tight, irritable, crampy, and stiff, whether it is a body part or even a mood, is a sign of magnesium deficiency. This critical mineral is actually responsible for over 300 enzyme reactions and is found in all of your tissues, but mainly in the bones, the muscles, and yes, your brain. You must have it for your cells to make energy and for many different chemical pumps to work to stabilize the membranes and to help muscles relax. When was the last time you had a good dose of seaweed, nuts, greens, or even beans? If you are like most Americans, your nut consumption, well, mostly comes from peanut butter. Now, that is why the list of conditions that are found related to magnesium deficiency is so long. In fact, there are over 3,500 medical references on magnesium deficiency. Even so, this mineral is mostly ignored because it's not a drug, and even though it is more powerful than drugs in many cases, that's why they use it in the hospital for life-threatening and emergency situations like seizures and heart failure. Now, you might be magnesium deficient if you have any of the following symptoms: muscle cramps or twitches, insomnia, irritability, sensitivity to loud noises and anxiety. Some people have ADD, there's heart palpitations and angina, constipation, headaches and migraines, fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue, asthma, kidney stones, obesity and osteoporosis, and yes, high blood pressure and PMS. There's even irritable bowel syndrome, acid reflux. Well, all of these, well, it's magnesium deficiency. In our society, magnesium deficiency is a huge problem. Now, by conservative standards of measurement, blood or serum magnesium levels, 65% of the people admitted to the intensive care unit and about 70 to 80% of the general population have a magnesium deficiency. But this seriously underestimates the problem because a serum magnesium level is the least sensitive way to detect a drop in your total body magnesium level. So rates of magnesium deficiency could actually be higher. And the reason we are so deficient is simple. Many of us eat a diet that contains practically no magnesium. We eat a highly processed, refined diet that is based mostly on white flour, meat, and dairy, all of which have zero magnesium. Now, when was the last time you had a good dose of sea vegetables, the seaweed, the nuts, the greens, and the beans? Again, if you're like most Americans, your nut consumption, well, it's going to be peanut butter, and some of you mostly in chocolate peanut butter cups. But much of the modern life conspires to help us lose what little magnesium we do get in our diet. See, magnesium levels are decreased by excess alcohol, salt, coffee, phosphorus found in sodas, profuse sweating, prolonged or intense stress, chronic diarrhea, excessive menstruation, diuretics, antibiotics and other drugs, and even some intestinal parasites. In fact, in one study in Kosovo, people under chronic war stress lost large amounts of magnesium in their urine. This is all further complicated by the fact that magnesium is often poorly absorbed and easily lost from our bodies. Now, to properly absorb magnesium, we need a lot of it in our diet, plus enough vitamin B6, vitamin D, and selenium to get the job done. Well, a recent scientific review of magnesium concluded it is highly regrettable that the deficiency of such an inexpensive, low-toxicity nutrient results in diseases that cause incalculable suffering and expense throughout the world. To tell you the truth, I couldn't have said it better myself. It is difficult to measure and hard to study, but magnesium deficiency accounts for untold suffering and is a simple thing to correct. So if you suffer from any of those symptoms I've mentioned or have any of the diseases I've noted, don't worry. It's an easy fix.
Dr. Bond invites you to connect with him online at drwardbond.com, where he shares more than 30 years of nutritional experience with you. Join his free Think Natural e-newsletter for up-to-date nutrition news, articles, and helpful tips that can help recharge your health, covering everything from your body, your mind, and your spirit. Whatever type of health situation you're going through, there's a natural answer that can help lead to a better, healthier you. And Dr. Bond has something new for all of his viewers. Sign up free for Dr. Ward Bond and food healing chef Susan Irby's Healing Remedies and Recipes online class. Learn how food can be your healer. Everything we eat will either benefit or hurt our bodies. Learn about different health conditions and which foods will benefit you the most. Connect with Dr. Ward Bond on Twitter, Facebook, and his YouTube channel. You can watch many of his past and current episodes of The Dr. Ward Bond Show, where he encourages you to always think natural. As Ezekiel 47:12 tells us, the fruit of the tree shall be our meat, and the leaves shall be our medicine.